Hello and welcome to the MHG podcast. As usual, life could be a little bit miserable, life could be a little bit dark, but we are here to bring you as much light and as much sickness of joy as we possibly can. I am a very sick Bradley. I am currently feeling vomiting and coughs and everything. So, if you hear that throughout the show, we're raw. Okay, we are raw. We're like Eddie Murphy on stage. Alright, so we're going to plough through. You get the raw experience with us. And to save the next person, who I'm about to mention, a little bit of added work for this week, it's Stu. How you doing, Stu? Better than me, I hope.
I am. I'm not vomity at the moment, which is always good. Yeah, it's funny nausea. I'm one of those people who almost never gets nauseous. And when I do, I just can't stand it. But we won't talk about it because the more you talk about it, the worse it gets, doesn't it? So we'll move swiftly on from that.
Like as we were saying off air, like my setup is because I've got only one leg and I don't wear it constantly. Like, if I suddenly feel vomiting, I can't run to the toilet, so I've got to carry a bag with me.
Yeah.
So at some point in the show, just imagine I could be sat here with a bag of vomit next to me.
Living the high life. That's what you want, isn't it?
Talking of bags of vomit, I've got a double segue this week.
Oh, go on.
Did you see that everyone's favourite world-ending leader has got another inaugural award?
I did not. What is it this time?
The inaugural Clean Coal Energy Award from the Coal Miners Association.
Oh, wow. That's incredible. That's like, the turkeys who voted for Christmas award.
What was funny, you should have seen the conference. If you get a chance to see it, it's like, I don't know, like they've gone to the premiere of something and like all the characters, all the CGI characters who are in it have been told to wear their costumes. So you've got all the miners inside at this like award ceremony wearing their miner hats and everything, as though that's what they do all day, every day. They don't change. They're just all. I think he thinks miners are the Seven Dwarfs.
It's so bizarre. They're like having to cosplay as themselves so he understands what he's doing and where he's standing.
But condescending in his acceptance award, he's just turning around to him and going, "You guys love what you do." I'm not doing the impression. I can't do the impression. You guys love what you do, and I know that you wouldn't trade up being down those mines and doing your work for like living in a penthouse like I do or anything like that. It's like, Jesus Christ.
Yes.
What is wrong with you?
Yes, I fucking would. Do it in a heartbeat.
Yes. Let's swap your big bag of vomit. But also, let's not forget, he's going to kill us all. So let's not create him as some chirpy character because he's just rolled back all, like, climate change. What is it? Like, all the things around climate change that are meant to improve it, he's just rolled it all back in America.
I know. Because they've probably offered him like a bag of sweeties, some bag of candy and some biscuits, cookies, and that'll do for him.
And a few $1 billion in a brown bag.
Yeah, not a vomit bag though.
I reckon I could get him to take my vomit bag.
You probably could. Just say it's a Bigly vomit bag and that'll...
It's the inaugural Big Vomit Award.
Yeah, Bigly Vomit Award.
Bigly Vomit. Yeah. You could sell that as from a joke shop. The Bigly Vomit.
Yeah.
Talking of big orange boxes.
Go on.
He's not a box. He's a bloke bag, but it's close enough. Video games.
Video games. You of course were referencing the Orange Box by Valve that came out about 20 years ago.
We play most of our games, not just me. You do as well on
Steam Deck.
A not orange box.
That's right.
It's a small black box.
I wish it was orange. It's my favourite colour.
They should do an orange box, shouldn't they?
They should.
Preloaded with all the Valve games.
Yes, that would be awesome.
Except there's a big RAM shortage, so they're actually sort of like ripping all the innards out of the Steam Decks, I believe. Or at least they've sold out and can't make any more.
Yeah.
So at least we've got commodities.
Yeah, they're going to be like, new Steam Deck, brand new with 512 megabytes of RAM. Yeah.
£10,000.
Yeah.
People go, how much? You go, yeah, but it's still cheaper than those other handheld PCs you can buy.
Yeah. It's all going to pot.
Oh, I don't get how people turn around and go, like, they talk about, yeah, but the Steam Deck's not the biggest, it's not the fastest, it's not got the most RAM, it's not got, like, the most battery. All right, how much is the Steam Deck? Well, it starts at 350 quid, goes up to 600 at a push. All right, how much are these? Well, they start at about £1,100.
Yeah.
Like, do you know which I would rather?
I know.
The one that I could buy and then put games on.
Yeah, precisely. It's a different world now, I tell you.
It is indeed. Yeah, I've gone from I'm going to be getting a Steam box, GameCube, Steam machine thing to I'll just see what happens in next year.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's nothing to do with Valve, unfortunately. I wish I could slam it at at a corporation, but I think Valve are not actually doing much wrong with this at the moment.
No. It's just the AI thing, as we know. But hey, that's where we are.
Yes. So, in your best AI impressions, Stu, ask me what I've been playing.
So, in the style of this podcast, I think the audience would like to know which video games have you been engaging with during the previous week?
That is a fantastic question. And here are 10 possible responses.
Nice.
The first one I've been playing, actually, is one I want to cover. And for whatever reason, I don't know why this didn't make it into any of my Game of the Year stuff. Maybe it's because I didn't remember that it came out in 2025. But it should have done. And thankfully, the DLC has reminded me. And it might make it a contender for 2026. I'm going to see what I do with my own internal rules. And that is the DLC for Monster Train 2. Yes, very good game. Deck builder. Again, it's not up your alley, Stu, but this is right in my wheelhouse. And what you've got here is the DLC is the Destiny of the Railforged. So, just a bit of coverage for this. Monster Train 2 is a roguelike deck builder in the vein of Slay the Spire, where you get dealt cards, you've got to fill your deck, get upgrade cards, take on enemies, and eventually take on a big boss. And in many respects, it does. Excuse me. Here comes the first bit of whoop, whoop. It does what Slay the Spire doesn't, and adds extra layers of strategy, which I think makes it. It doesn't make it better, but it makes it an excellent companion to that game. You can have both on the go. So whereas Slay the Spire is you take on enemies, they come at you. This one you have various different rooms. Enemies coming on the bottom room and then gradually make their way up and try and take energy from your pyre. That goes to zero, you lose. So you have to strategize is how you get good synergies, basically, of where you put your units, what spells you use, what rooms you put them on, that kind of thing. And the game is absolutely outstanding. What the DLC has added is a new faction. So there's different factions that have different starting champions and units and spells available to them. And you mix them to try and get your synergies. So this adds in a new faction, which plays really well. Really enjoy my time with it. I've got to play more to understand how well it'll work with other factions that I'm used to playing with. But what it also adds is what is essentially a new mode to it. So the Railforged clan are your new clan, and there's this Soul Survivor mode, which is as you play, you can earn souls from your runs and stuff like that, and then you use your souls to increase your powers or just get benefits or help your pyre and everything all survive. And there's just loads. It creates the same game, but as a separate entity, gives it this whole new way of playing that unless you kind of play the game, you're not going to understand it. It'll look the same from the outside. The general way you play it's the same, but the mechanics are tweaked slightly enough that it deserves to stand away from its own thing. So they have daily runs anyway. There's a puzzle based, you get given a set deck kind of option and you have to play through that to unlock more and do that. So you've got these puzzles. And then this is its own option yet again. whilst I'm still getting to grips with it, and there's still a lot for me to learn, what I have found is I'm just totally in love with it. It's like I'm still learning what it is, but I'm enamored with it. And it's like I'm finding that the putting together the synergies that you get seem to happen a lot more naturally than they do in the base game. That's not to say it doesn't work in the base game, but you have to kind of really fight for it. This one seems to want you to synergize from the get-go. And you can get some really sort of like crazy builds going that sort of like do like massive amount of damage. And it's yeah, as a DLC, at less than at less than £10, it's well worth the addition if you're into this game.
That sounds really good. Yeah, I remember you talking about the first game even and saying how good that was. Everything that's gone on since then sounds like it's built on it and grown itself as a franchise and got better and better, which is what you want, really, isn't it?
Yeah, and the fact this all came out before Slay the Spire 2, I think is to its benefit. It's not chasing Slay the Spire anymore. It's set its own path, which is great. So Slay the Spire will come out. It will do gangbusters, and it's no one's going to be going, "Oh, you're just doing Monster Train 2." But I think if Monster Train 2 had come out after Slay the Spire 2, I think it would have been accused of being one of those games again. Whereas I think now it stands on its own 2 feet wonderfully well.
Oh, superb! Yeah, I'm glad that they sound like they've picked the right time to release as well, which is so important. Nice one.
Yes, and belatedly, that would go in my top 10 list for Game of the Year if I remembered it came out in 2025.
Excellent. Well, if it's DLC and it's valuable DLC, then yeah, it could go into this year's. You never know.
We could do what we want.
We can. We've got no rules apart from our own. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what have you been playing?
I've been playing an odd one, both odd for me and comparatively odd in itself, and that's a game called Plinbo, which is based on Plinko, which is based on Pachinko. If you can keep up with all that.
If you like your prices right, you know Plinbo.
And you've got your legs akimbo, and So no, let's move on. So Plinbo is basically, if you imagine, a little board of pins, and you drop a load of pinballs, steel balls down. They clatter around and they land in the little troughs at the bottom. And in Pachinko, I think it's to do with like how many you retain is how much money you earn. In Plinko, they drop into valued slots. So the slots start at like low value in the center and then increase towards the sides where the balls are less likely to fall. And they're multipliers. So it's like you get a score for it landing, and it's then multiplied by the value that's in that slot that it falls into. Very, very simple. And it's very much in the sort of Clover Pit, Balatro style of you reinforce and build your kind of, in inverted commas, deck to improve your chances. So each round you have to clear a certain amount of money, and you buy cards and build systems that will increase your profits as best you can. And the 3 ways that you do that, the first is buying regular cards, and they're styled like tarot cards, and they give you buffs. The second is the pinballs themselves. You can buy special pinballs that have different abilities. And thirdly and finally is the pins themselves. So there's 3 ways that you can, stack the deck in your favour, as it were, and increase from there. And you just press your button, all these balls cascade down, you've got no control over them once they go. The only control you've got is a meta control of having buffed certain objects or whatever. So it sounds like that lack of interactivity would be boring, but it doesn't really ever get boring. There's that human kind of click that you have when you see things clattering around that is just fun in and of itself. And even in video game form, it's fun. Even video game pinball is fun, even though it's just abstract. So there's quite a lot of ways that you can sort of build the engine out to make it good and to make stack it in your favour as much as possible. However, it's got a couple of underlying flaws that I'll preface this by saying I think they're being worked on, and I think there was a release the other day that might have changed things a little bit. But there's a couple of flaws at the moment, and the main one that can't be changed is that it's not physics based. Apparently, it's written so that when the ball hits a pin, there's there's RNG, like a random number generator, of whether it goes left or right. Now, that doesn't sound like that big a difference between having a physics engine and just having a random determinant factor, but it does, because if you're cascading pinballs down, they would react differently depending on how many you dropped at a time. You might be able to work out that dropping a great big bunch will send them scattering out towards the edges and earn more money, and then you could build a little system with your cards and your special balls and stuff around that. But it doesn't have that, unfortunately, so there's no variance in that. It's just RNG where they fall. I think that might be a fatal flaw for some people. For me, I didn't mind.
Can I interject there slightly?
Yeah, of course you can.
Okay. Deck builders, because you are playing a deck builder, whether you like it or not.
I guess so.
RNG is vital over everything, because to win at a deck builder, you manipulate your RNG odds. So to have it as RNG based over physics based makes a lot of sense in the deck builder world. So just to interject there.
Yeah, I see what you mean. I totally get that. I think the thing that changes that kind of is different, and that could be different with the physics-based thing, is that particularly the pins, you can adjust the RNG on them as to what they do. So you can increase, say, like you can give it a plus 5 times chance, like 5% chance to send, or more than that, a 25% chance that the ball will go to the right rather than to the left. And you could have your physics engine but still include that. And then you could incorporate the special balls, which are normally about multipliers and things like that, and then kind of engineer a system that works all of that together. It may have been much harder to do that, and probably outside the scope of this, because it's only a comparatively cheap game. It's one of our coffee time games kind of thing. But it makes it a bit more difficult. I think the main problem is balance. You can play, like I played it for hours and hours and hours and not had a single win. Like, I've got through rounds and rounds and rounds, but not got to the end of the level after about 7 or 8 hours of play or something. And it's not really, the entertainment starts draining away if you don't have that success. And a lot of that is because I don't think the balance is right with the bonuses that you buy. I don't think that you get enough from them. And I don't mind it being okay, if it's a 50-50 chance that it'll be catastrophic or it'll be amazing. I don't mind buying cards or things like that, and just taking the risk. But there still isn't that kind of balance. It's always going to fall more on the side of, this is going to be a disaster. So it might have had its rebalance that it needs. I need to replay it again, but it's got a lot in there that I really enjoy. And I'm glad I bought it, basically. I mean, it is cheap. I'd say, have a look at it, see if you're intrigued, and if you are, then it might be worth a go. And even if you get, I don't know, an hour or two's fun out of it, it's probably paid for itself. So yeah, check it out, see what you think.
The Project Brainwash Stew is coming to play.
I think the difference with this one is that I like the physical side of it. That's good. It's like constant action, everything's in motion all the time, and there's no downtime. I would say, if you buy it, immediately go into the settings and speed up the ball drop, because the sort of one-time speed is so slow that you just get so bored waiting for them to all fall down. So increase the speed. It's all in the options, and you'll appreciate it a lot more than for that. But I like that side of it. And it does feel Blattroish, It does feel like engineering a good deck will do the right things, but the balance is just not there at the moment. So, temper your expectations accordingly.
Yeah, talking like a real deck builder fan. Increase your speed is what. One of the first is, as soon as you understand the game, you up the speed of the animations.
Oh
and
God,
everything.
I'm turning into.
You're getting there. You are strong. You're getting there.
Turning into what I despise. That's terrible.
Well, moving on. I've not been playing another deck builder. I've been playing a choices matter, survival, adventure, exploration style game called Nova Antarctica. Now, it's set in the... This is how you know it's unrealistic. It's set in the far distance future of 2900 AD. We're never getting to there, so, optimistic.
Yeah, fiction.
From the beginning.
Yeah.
And basically, the world is frozen. Because that part, probably is real. The world's frozen over, and there's extreme weather, there's food shortages, all that kind of thing. And you have got to basically survive. And there's a story that goes with it. And you know my rules when it comes to talking about stories. I just go, not going to talk about it because you need to experience it without me telling you much about it. So basically, you've got to survive and get somewhere. But there's an interesting choices matter. There's some great character building that goes on in there. All that kind of stuff is there. The reason I want to shout this one out is I think it is rough around the edges. For a start, like it's got crafting mechanics, and I'm not a big fan of crafting mechanics. I just don't think they offer much unless it is the core of your game. Now, this one, as in it's rough. The crafting mechanics I get why they're there. And they could just do with a little bit of tweaking, but they're not game-breaking, they're not obnoxious. They're there and they offer something. I just think they could do with a little bit more tweaking. But what you do is, the reason it drives you on rather than just settling where you are is, and this is part of the story I won't read, the story kind of goes, I suppose it's almost like what you get in The Walking Dead. There's a great saviour if you travel. If you get to this place, there's this great saviour that will set you up for the rest of your life kind of thing. So it's kind of got that whole trope with it. And I get why you need to go on a journey in game. You can't just do it for the sake of it. So what's really interesting as well, and I like this premise, you start off as a young child. So everything you're doing in discovery is the sort of thing you accept. Okay, a child is going to be discovering this for the first time. Rather than when they do it, you're this like 40, 50-year-old grizzled veteran who's had experience in other things, and then you've got to teach him all the mechanics. That kind of doesn't fit story-wise. Again, get why he's doing this. You start off as a young child who will need to learn this stuff. So, yeah, really good of making sure your systems fit your story and your tutorials fit the story and all that kind of thing. So, what you essentially need to do is go on a journey. You craft to set up shelters to survive. Especially when the colder times, like the blizzards all set in, and all things like that, and you basically got to get through it all. So the survival element, actually, we spoke about this last week. The survival elements actually have a story reason for being there. As such, I can accept them. You started off as someone young, so sure, you might need more food and things like that, and your resources might drain quick because you don't know how best to use them. And if you're growing, you're going to need those resources. You can't just go, oh, I'm a child of 5 years old, for example, and I can survive X days and be strong, because your body's still growing. Your body needs those nutrients, whereas a full-grown adult has grown and can balance. A child cannot. So it's really well worked with sort of as a growing person why you need all these things and why they don't just last, or you can't plan them properly. It all really, really works. And there's just so many different little bits in there that my initial thought was this is going to muddy the waters a bit. But in fact, it doesn't. It's not perfect, but it all fits and it all works within the context of the game. I don't think it's a wonderful game. I think it's a good game. And again, I'm okay with stuff like that. I'm okay with just good games. It doesn't, and not everything needs to be like game changing. And this isn't. It's a purely single-player experience, and one that I've really sort of like been impressed with, despite thinking it could do with just a few little tweaks here and there.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I mean, visually it looks good. It looks a little bit like, not exactly like, but a little bit like that last Caretaker that you were playing the other week.
Oh no, yeah, I get where you're coming from in terms of how bleak and sort of like, I suppose, sort of like dank and like alone everything looks. But in terms, but I get that. But yeah, in terms of how it plays, it's nothing like that. It is. I actually think this is a better game than Last Caretaker.
Oh, right, okay, that's interesting. Yeah, I just thought it looked sort of similar in terms of being cutesy and soft rather than, bleak and ugly.
But the cutesy and soft is what they call a red herring.
Oh, yeah, I can imagine.
Now, moving on and talking of red herrings.
Yeah.
Know what else? Do you know what likes to eat herring?
Cats.
They do indeed.
I know where you're going with this.
So, do you know what it's called where you selectively breed?
I do. It's called eugenics.
You know what you get if you cross cats and eugenics?
Mewgenics.
Oh, you get cat eugenics. You weirdo. Yes, you get Mewgenics. Now, unless you've been living under a rock or you don't play video games, you are going to be aware of Ed McMillan. Even if you don't know the name outright, if I say the words to you, Super Meat Boy and Binding of Isaac, you will know who he is. For some, he might be, that guy from that indie game movie. Yeah, him. The good one, not the dodgy ones. Jesus Christ. Half the people they focused on the movie turned out really bad.
Yeah, it's not surprising, is it?
They'd Phil Fish. The really horrible one, he done Binding of Isaac, whose name I'll gladly forget. But him. No, not Binding of Isaac. Braid.
Oh, yeah. God, Braid. Yeah, that guy.
Ed McMillan seems to be one of the decent ones, thankfully. Anyway, Mewgenics is an Ed McMillan game. If you've played an Ed McMillan game, you know what you're expecting. It's out there in terms of themes and visually and everything. So, what you've got in a visual style, the best way I can describe Ed McMillan's visual style is doodles. Someone who sat there, they've been in an office meeting for 6 hours and they've just doodled. And they've doodled lots and lots of cats. That's how I've always looked at his visual style. Just quick doodles. Anyone can do it, but he somehow manages to make it come to life in a way that others couldn't. So that's what you got in this really cool visual style. If you played Isaac or Meat Boy, it's very similar in style. But what you've got is again another genre he's appeared. So he's done obviously the precision platformer. He's done the roguelike dungeon crawler, and now he's taking on the turn-based strategy game. And this is a game that is, for most people, 12 years in waiting. I think Ed said he's been working on this version for 6 years. And with Tyler Gliel as well. He'll always be the one who I think gets missed out. So let's shout out Tyler as well, who does a lot of the work with Ed. But yeah, it's a turn-based strategy game where you go out, you take an army of cats, or a squad of cats, where you actually go out and you go through various rooms, and you either have to have a battle, or there's an options quest, or you can unlock some goodies and stuff like that, and then there's a boss. And you just turn-based battles on a grid. Now, I've kind of waited on this review because I will wax lyrical about this game, and if you'll find lots to know about this game from other people and sort of like in depth about it. What I want to cover is what is an Ed McMillan game, and what makes an Ed McMillan game an Ed McMillan game. And I think it's discovery that on the surface you get these very well-known basic ideas: precision platformer, dungeon crawler, and now turn-based strategy. Everyone knows what they are. And what Ed does, I think, is brilliant, is you see them, but it's not until you start scratching beneath that surface that you start to see what is in this game. So in many, many ways, an Ed McMillan game is like a donkey. It's full of layers. Shrek
Like
reference
it.
for those that don't get it. You
Yeah,
get
very
it,
good.
others might not. It's a Shrek reference because donkeys are like onions. Anyway, Anyway, so with this, you go out, you do your turn based, but involved with that, away from that, you've got breeding of cats. So you kind of got this kind of sort of like breeding simulator, and then you've kind of got this home simulator, god simulator type thing going on, and then you've kind of got this resource management thing that goes on within this part of the game. There's other bits you can do, so you can like give up cats to like an underworld type thing where you can get new additions, new bonuses that can help you in future runs or your breeding, and you can selectively breed your cats as well. So if you could get a cat that's got a trait, such as you've got a cat that is loves being in the rain, you can use that cat to selectively breed other cats that make them stronger in levels that are raining. And you can breed other cats that might have these other traits and stuff like that. Now, this isn't mine. I saw this on like someone else, from someone else. They managed to breed a cat that was addicted to eating poop, which again, it makes sense in an Ed McMillan game, especially in Mewgenics. It was addicted to eating poop. They got to a boss that was essentially categorized as poop. So they entered the level, and the cat that was addicted to eating poop basically just went and ate the boss. Boss killed.
Nice.
That is the level of what you can get in Mewgenics, and that is even early on. I think they've said it's like 200 hours to beat the game, 500 odd hours to see everything there is to see so far. As I said, I really like all the mechanics. I'm tens of hours in across. I've got two accounts. I've got a family account that I can play where no one can see what we're playing, and I can just play away from anything. And I've got my own account where that's where I've got all my friends and like everything can be seen. And I've played this off like a few hours on my account and tens of hours on my hidden account. And I started it again on my new account, and I was seeing stuff that I've not seen in tens of hours on my other account, and it was just like, wow. I'm starting fresh. You'd expect there to be lots and lots of repeats. There are some, but there's even fresh stuff, and it's limitless. It's not often you can turn around like when games go, oh, you got limitless opportunity like abilities and stuff like that. And Borderlands is one where they go, oh, gazillions of guns, and it's the same guns just with slightly different stats. It's behave. This actually feels like I've not even scratched the surface of what cats I can breed, and so on. I don't know if there's an inbreeding element to any of it that can have positive effects down the line, or if I get a purebred of this kind, loads of different things that I'm still going, can I do this? What will the effect be? What traits can I carry over from this cat into this cat? And how long is it going to take me to get there? And because it's natural selection, along with sort of like selective breeding, because you will always have natural selection, life finds a way and all that, you're never guaranteed what kitten is going to pop out. It doesn't matter how precise you want to be. You're never guaranteed. So you can't produce the perfect squad. Perfect squad, sorry. You can only guide towards it, and that makes every new run feel fresh. I've not had a run yet where I've gone, that's the strategy I used last time, this is the strategy I'm going to use this time, and that's what's going to work. I could do that in Monster Train. That Monster Train, Slay the Spire, Balatro, that you could do. You can really manipulate it. This has the manipulation, but you are still having to fight natural selection. You are still having to then hope that your bosses come together with the squad you've built, and loads of different things. I think I think this is exceptional, with just a few quality of life and accessibility issues. such as it's very bright and needs a dark mode, and it needs a better way to see what cats you've got at a glance. And I'm going to stop talking now because I'm dying.
Yeah, you don't sound great. I've been playing this as well. It's all right. I think it's good enough. I've not got many hours into it. I've got probably about 3 or 4, and I'm probably done. I like tactical RPGs. I'd class it as a tactical RPG, really, and I like them. What draws me along with them is a really strong visual design, like different classes that are visually very striking, and lots of effects that make you feel like that character's empowered or using their power really well. And also a nice storyline threaded through it that gives you a little bit of, impetus to, I've got to capture this section of land or whatever. I don't play a great many of them. I only play them, one every 5 years is probably my cadence. But I do like them. And yeah, I think this one is perfectly fine. I do...
Do the thing.
Oh, what?
You said perfectly, Stu. Come on.
Oh, sorry, yeah. Perfectly.
There
we go. I got you. But yeah, I think it's absolutely fine. I just... much like I kind of bounced off the Binding of Isaac a little bit, even though that's supposedly right up my street as well. And I think it's pure mechanics, really. I think the games are pure mechanics, really brilliantly put together. But they just don't entice me in quite the way that I like. So intellectually, I recognise that they're really good, but they just don't spark much of a fire in me. But it's beautifully put together. Like you said, the mechanics in the game are synchronised with one another so beautifully that's really, really impressive. I get a little bit bored by his childish humour after a while. There's only so many poop jokes you can stomach, but and vomit jokes and fleas and all of that stuff. But
as you say, you're sophisticated.
No, I wouldn't say that, Bradley.
Oh.
No, you can say it, but I just won't speak to you anymore. But yeah, no, it's a really good game, but it's going to be for certain people, I think. Like his previous games. Yeah,
I totally get what you're coming from there, and as I said, the more I've played it, the more it's not perfect. Is one of the quality of life issues that I think this desperately needs is the ability, and I don't know if it's going to be possible, to rotate the battlefield so you can see it from different angles. I think sometimes it's a bit of a visual mess.
Yes.
Now, there might be a reason for that later on, I don't know, but that, from an accessibility point of view and a quality of life, I think that's one thing I think he has got wrong, is the ability that you can't rotate that battlefield.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because I'd forgotten about that. And yeah, I definitely felt like that. There were angles where I was like, is that going to be the right angle for this? What's hiding there, etc., etc. Yeah.
Is that the cat I can attack? Or is that just a rock?
Yeah.
I know you got the tactical view by pressing like a button that does it, but it's still not clear for me. So that's nothing one area can be hopefully patched and improved over time. And one thing we know he will do, as we see with these other games, he will support this over time and make the improvements.
Definitely he will, yeah. Yeah, good.
And I'm going to back out there because I'm trying not to vomit. So you take us out, Stu.
Definitely. Yeah, okay. Well, thanks for sticking with us. It's been a bit of a bumpy ride, but we did it. So, as usual, follow us on all the socials. Make sure you're checking out our content on the website. Follow us on Discord, which is something that we'll have to speak about next week, because there's a verification thing coming in with that, and I think that's going to impact everybody who uses it. But for the meantime, add another log to the fire of disaster. But in the meantime, stay safe and stay sane.